Namaskar. Very warm welcome to all our esteemed panelists, dignitaries, and attendees. Many thanks for being part of our 13th Foundation Day celebration event and deliberations. So, we planned for 6 dedicated panel discussion throughout the day, touching upon various stakeholders from government, corporate houses, media houses, uh, and international bodies. Since 9:30 in the morning, we had 5 such enriching panel discussions, and sixth one is right now happening, wherein in the previous sessions we deliberated upon the ways and means to further our movement of building a disability inclusive and sustainable world. And the current session, which is the last session of the day, we look forward to some food for thought to scale policies, programs, and processes across global organizations. I once again thank everyone for your support and guidance on the behalf of entire Sarthak family. And now I would like to take pause and would like to introduce and invite Siddhartha sir to take this session ahead. Siddhartha sir is our National Advisory Board member, and he is MD Ambit Capital. He has over 2 decades of financial services experience and heads the asset management arm of Ambit Group, a full service investment bank. He is a forward looking thinker and writes regularly on life and living and investments in various magazines and online journals. Siddharth sir also had the CSR division of Ambit Group. He is the author of 8 Minute Decision, a book which helps one to effective decision making. Over to you, Siddharth sir.
Thank you, Nishtha.
Thank you, sir.
Pranam to all our viewers, pranam to everyone who's seeing us. We will just, today is a very auspicious day. Today is the date of Guru Purnima. So we will just say thank you to our Guru and say a small mantra of Ganesh ji, because we believe anything which starts with remembering Lord Ganesha ends very well. So Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvkareshu Sarvada Sarmangal Mangalle Shive Sarva Sadhike Sharane Trambake Gauri Narayani Namostude. It means that blessings to everyone, well-being for everyone. In today's COVID times, everybody should be well-being. So thank you guys for joining us. Today what we are going to talk about is we have a very amazing list of people who have made big in life. People who started with very, very small, in a very humble manner, and today they have made big in life. So we have to learn their thought process, their mindset, their capabilities. And if we can replicate it, if we can learn from them, today or tomorrow, we will become big. So these are our today's gurus, from Debasis to Mr. Menon to Miss Sharma, to Dr. Adam, to Miss Sharma, to Miss Dorodi Sharma, to Miss Singh. All of you, welcome to a yet another exciting year of Sarthak 13th Foundation Day. So my first question is to Dr. Adams. But before I ask the question, let me introduce Dr. Adam. He is the President and Chief Executive Officer of American Foundation for the Blind. He has worked for inclusion and accessible world for over 20 million or 2 crore Americans who have vision challenges. Dr. Adam has led the American Foundation for Blind to innovative and has given a new direction. He is working with working adults, children, and everyone who needs his assistance. He has played an extraordinary role with the policymakers, with the employers, with the influencers to make this world a more inclusive place. Thank you, Dr. Adams, early in the morning. Sorry for waking you up.
It's my pleasure to be here.
My question to you, sir, is how did you get inclined to change this world of visually impaired? What inspired you, your journey, your story, your yatra? Sir.
Okay, well, thank you. And first off, congratulations for having the 13th Sarthak Foundation Day. That in itself is a great accomplishment. My name is Dr. Kirk Adams. I am President and CEO of the American Foundation for the Blind, and we are in our 100th year. We were founded in 1921. Our global ambassador for 45 years was Helen Keller, whom many of you are aware of as a deafblind woman who advocated on behalf of all oppressed minorities, people who are blind, people who are deafblind, working people, in our country, in the United States, people of color with the National American Association of Colored People, NAACP, which she helped found. Also, the American Civil Liberties Union. So she was very much interested in social justice and working on behalf of all peoples, and that'll be something I'll talk about in the second question, is how we all must partner together and join together to support one another as we work to create a world of no limits, a world of opportunities. So myself, I'm in the state of Washington in the United States. I'm in Seattle. It's in the northwest corner of the United States near Canada and the Pacific Ocean. And I was born sighted. My parents were young. They were in college when I was born, and then they became teachers. And both of my retinas detached when I was 5 years old, and I became totally blind. I just turned 60 years old this week, so this was 55 years ago, so the mid-60s. And at that time in our country, blind children and children with other disabilities were not guaranteed an education in their local public schools. So there were each state of the 50 United States has at that time had a residential school for blind children, and I went to one of those as a 6, 7, and 8-year-old. And at that time, I learned a couple of things that have helped me to thrive as a blind adult. So when we look at research at the American Foundation for the Blind, and this is the first of many times I will say it, but our website, afb.org, has a lot of resources that I invite you all to use. But we are a research organization. We publish the Journal of Visual Impairment and Blindness, which is a peer-reviewed research journal for research around the world on blindness. And when we look at research, we see there are a handful of factors that are essential to a blind person thriving as an adult. And one is to have good blindness skills. So we know there's training and techniques. So I learned how to read and write Braille as a 6-year-old child, and I read and write Braille daily in my work. That's how I do my work. I learned how to travel independently, which is another very important factor for thriving and for success. So I use a long white cane. I learned how to use technology. At that time, it was how to type on a typewriter, so that I could start school with sighted children as soon as possible. So when I was 9 years old, I started going to the public school with my all sighted classmates. So the other thing that I learned there and is so important for thriving is a sense of agency. There's a research tool that measures what's called locus of control. So the belief, am I able to control my destiny, to shape my life, to chart my own path, is an internal locus of control? Or do I feel that the world is acting upon me, that I don't have a way to shape the future, that I'm at the whim of what's happening around me? So a strong internal locus of control, the the bone deep belief that you can shape your own future is one of the very most important factors for success of people who are blind. So at the School for the Blind Children in the state of Oregon, which is here on the Pacific coast, west coast of the United States, I learned, I was with another 100 blind children. I not only learned my blindness skills, which are so important, Braille, cane travel technology. I also got a great sense as a young blind child of being able to move confidently through the world as a blind person, to love my body, to love myself, even though my retinas had detached and I was totally blind, and I was the only blind person in my family, the only blind person my parents knew, and to be confident that I could do things. So the teachers would take us out into the mountains, hiking, would take us to the seashore, would let us climb in trees, to fall down and to get hurt, to understand what it's like to be an active child. So I'll close here in a few minutes, but it's really about creating an environment where the blind child or blind adolescent or blind adult can thrive to the same degree that sighted people do, people without disabilities. And that's really, thriving may be different for each person. But as a child, it's how does the blind child develop at the same, on the same arc as a sighted child. So if a 3 or 4 year old sighted child is playing on a playground with their with friends and playing in the street, climbing trees, playing games, falling down, scraping their knee, getting in little arguments with their playmates. This blind child needs to be able to do the same thing and be allowed to get those bumps and bruises. A young person in our country, 12, 13, 14 years old, young people gather with their friends. They may go to the cinema, may go, depending where they live, into a town to do shopping or to have a meal, and the young blind person needs the support to be able to do that at the same level as their sighted brothers and sisters. And then as far as work goes here, we have an employment issue in the United States. 7 out of 10 working age blind adults are not working, and that's about half the percentage of the general population. And most blind people who are working are in jobs that pay less than sighted peers with the same educational attainment. So we have a lot of room for improvement here. One of the main factors is early work experience. Less than 30% of young blind people in the U.S. have any kind of paid work by the time they're 23 years old, but about 75% of young sighted people do. So the early work experience is very important. Learning the blindness skills is very important, and having that sense of agency, that locus of internal control, to believe as a person with a disability that you're able to achieve what you want to achieve. And if we can help our young people with disabilities to grow up with that deep belief that they can create the world, the life that they want to live for themselves, then we've done a good job. If we can help young people feel that they're able to create their own future.
Thanks, Dr. Adams. So very interesting 3 points if one has to take away from what he said. One is the locus of control, which means that person needs to figure out whether abled or differently abled, both need to figure out at all points in time their locus of control. Second, let there be generalization. If the whether it is blind, whether it is differently abled or abled, give them freedom to fall, give them freedom to get bruised, give them freedom to rise again. And the last point, employment, I think US can learn from India. Sarthak is especially doing extremely good work in enabling blind people to get fully employed independently, which I think we have a lot of potential for collaboration. So thanks, Dr. Adams here. My next
Absolutely.
question. Yeah, sorry, Dr. Adams, you said something. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to Miss Savita Sharma. Savita is based out of Canada for last 30 years, MD of Kranacx, Canadian Incorporation, and the Transformation Gurus. She's a clinical hypnotherapist and has helped several lives in entangling, in solving their issues which they face because of the emotional, personal, and mental baggage. So welcome, Savita. Thanks for being here. My question is, you work with people. How did you got inclined to work with differently abled for the community, for the social, for the society? So tell me about your inclination. How did it start altogether? Savita, you are on mute.
Is it
Again, you have gone on mute, Savita.
okay? Is it good now?
Perfect. Please go ahead. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, welcome. Thank you very much for inviting me in this panel. I'm feeling very honored, and I'm Savita Sharma from transformationgurus.com. I was a computer professional, a computer programmer before I started this. And I had no intention to come in this business because I was a very logical type of person and learning math, computers, and then this non-logical thing that people can be healed, they can be confident just by talking. That was not in my, means that was not I was not accepting the truth, okay? And then what happened 30 years ago, I went for a Reiki class with the intention to just to see that what they're doing. I had no intention to learn that. I had no intention to accept that anyone can be healed, okay? And then I went with that intention because I was young person with very high-headed something, means I don't mind to say that, okay? And with all the logical, that math and all those things. And it was mentioned that by touching someone, you can heal someone. That concept was not acceptable to me, okay? Very funny concept, yeah. So I thought, no, that cannot happen. And when I went there, so they tuned me, and I had very severe headache, yeah? So I could not adjust with that energy. And when I came home, so I was very angry. I thought, what the hell? They said they will heal us, and now I have that headache. But they gave us a homework that you have to heal 3 people. You have to give Reiki to 3 people at home. And I took oath that I'll do that. So just even if I had headache, but I thought, okay, I'll do it. And when first I gave Reiki to my dad, and when I gave Reiki to my mom, and one to my sister. So my dad had backache for so many years, and suddenly he said, "Oh, I don't have backache." So I was surprised. What? And then my mom was sick for 1 week. So and she was not cooking, doing anything, and she got up and started cooking. And then my sister, she had pain in one of her thumb, and that was, and I did not even give Reiki to her thumb. I just gave her to her whole body. And even then, her thumb was healed. I said, what is this? What is this happening? But even then, because a very stubborn person also and very logical, mathematical, I thought, no, actually, this is not possible. But even then, I kept on learning more and more and more. And then so many things started happening. And it was beyond my acceptance that this is possible. Okay. And then I achieved so many things with that. But even then, uh, logically, it was very difficult to understand that this is happening and this can happen. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, Savita.
Okay, wonderful. And then I got married and came to Canada. I was in India at that time. Yeah. Okay. Then I got married, came to Canada, and then here I learned hypnosis, psyche, and all those modalities. And then I went even for the paranormal. Means paranormal is dealing with entities. Yeah. Okay. So I went for advanced, the hypno baby birthing, and I noticed the surgery is doing with hypnosis. And then when we started giving sessions, so we realized that so many people, they are successful in their life financially, but one incident in their life, so they were stuck for the whole life. Means actually they were just in a loop. For example, if it's a bad relationship, so they keep on continuing with that. So if someone is getting 75% marks but not able to get even 76% or 80%, so they were stuck that they cannot get that. If someone is not able to get a job, so they were stuck with that thought they cannot. So many things. And just with one session, just by talking, the scenario changed. But because what happens, for example, now you people are talking to me, but at the same time your heartbeat is working. Yeah, your eyes are blinking, your nails are going, your hair, so someone is doing that. So who is doing that? Consciously you're talking to me, and consciously when you're talking to me or when you are listening or doing anything, so our conscious mind, we have two set of mind, conscious and subconscious mind. So conscious mind can handle only 40 bits of data per second. So it means if I say 7802242422422 or 347, so you cannot remember all those numbers just in one go. Yeah, but so your subconscious mind can handle 40 millions data per second. So it means that your heartbeat is working, all the process, whatever is going in your body, your subconscious mind is handling at the same time, and it's very attentive also. Let's assume you anything comes towards you, you will catch it, because your subconscious mind is very attentive. It can handle 40 million data per second. So we think that we are controlling our life, but subconscious is controlling our life. So when I learned that, so at that time also I did not want to, because I was a very successful business person, I did not want to come in this profession. So but then I realized that so many people are suffering in their life just because one concept is stuck. They are stuck with one concept and they don't know how to shift it, and they have no idea that it can be shifted. So then I came in that business. Even you will not believe that people, they had backache for so many years, and just with one session, talking to them, not even session, just by talking to them, they said, oh, I don't know what happened to my back pain. Means they were surprised, and they were still walking, bending, but then after 2-3 days they thought, oh, I don't feel that back pain. So then they got it again after 3-4 days, because they were surprised that how that happened. So then we give the proper session. They never had that. They were told they will have surgeries, but the hypnosis helped them, hypnotherapy sessions, because it was just at their mindset. Some incident, for example, I'll tell you, there was a lady, she had very bad back pain. So when we gave her a session, so in the session, we asked her, okay, so when did you notice the first back pain? She said, oh, I had my sister, my cousin, and then her husband sent her back because he said, okay, if you have back pain, so send her to parents that if you have back pain, you can come back only when you are healed. So, and her husband used to say, I love you, I love you, I love you. And she wanted to see what happens if she has back pain. So how he will react. So then we gave her the suggestions, and she was healed without any surgery, nothing. So, and then so many people, they were one of the guy, he was always playing game but never won any medal. So then we realized that okay, we gave him a session and he got gold medal. So many people were healed with all those things. And now for a disability, I was listening to Dr. Kirk. So he said that deep down there's a belief that they cannot get jobs, people, or they are not equal. This belief is, they were not born with this belief. This belief was given to them by the treatment of the society, and this belief can be changed with hypnosis. Just in few 2-3 sessions, not even means we don't have to give even session to individuals. We can give sessions to the groups. For example, 100 kids on webinar, and it can be that belief can be changed. And there is a belief set that okay, they have to get a job. Why? They can provide jobs, they can be entrepreneurs. There are so many businesses which can be run by blind people also. So there are so many possibilities, but people are stuck in their mindset, and I help them to change that.
Thanks, Savita. This is very, very powerful. So two things which Savita said is very simple is it's all the power of thought. As
Yes.
Buddha says, as you think, thou so you are. So whatever you think, you become. And second is the energy, because wherever the energy gets stuck, the pain will happen. So thanks, Savita, for this wonderful journey, for sharing with our viewers. My next question is to Mr. Debasis Majumdar. Before I ask the question to him, Mr. Majumdar was born in Patna. For last 18-20 years, he has been a British citizen. He's also the CEO of Caribbean government Saint Kitts Nevis shipping ministry. He is also the CEO and founder of Seed Maritime UK. He is a landmark education graduate coach for self-expression leadership program, and he's involved in various community programs of UK. Thanks, Mr. Majumdar, for joining this panel and gracing this occasion with your presence. So thanks so much. Mr. Majumdar, my question is very simple. You had an accomplished career in UK. What drove you to start doing community work? What enlightenment happened so that you start giving back to not only underprivileged in UK, but globally? Mr. Majumdar.
Thank you, Siddhartha. First of all, thank you very much, all of you from the Sarthak group, for inviting me here and allowing me to speak. And thanks and welcome to all the panelists here. My case is a little bit different from the others, so I'll just give you a brief history. I'm a small town boy in India. Then I did my engineering, and I was a marine engineer by profession after doing IIT. Then I joined the ships as a ship engineer and became a chief engineer. After that, I came ashore and joined one of the undertaking of the US government, which is called American Bureau of Shipping. And which is a division of the US Coast Guard. And I was posted in India, serving and doing ship inspections. All my trainings are in Houston through American Bureau of Shipping. And then I was posted in various places with the American Bureau of Shipping in Shanghai, in China, in Dubai. And then I got a job for the civil service in the UK, British Civil Service, again at the Her Majesty Coast Guard. And I was looking into the ships and inspections of the British ships. Then in the field, after 5 years, I got promoted to head of a British Civil Service department, which was the first Indian Asian to lead a department. And at that time, the Prime Minister, they had an open door policy. So I was the first person to get into head of the international safety management in the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency. Then after 4 years of service, I was promoted through an interview to the head of the UK Ship Register. So that was again the first Asian Indian to become the head of the UK Ship Register head of the entire British merchant fleet. Just like in India, where how you have an IS officer, it's a similar sort of a post with some more responsibilities. So now, Siddhartha, the question to you, what made me, then as you said, I jumped for greener pastures to become a CEO in a government with the Caribbean islands, St. Kitts and Nevis, and it was a London job. I didn't have to go there. So I took up that job. And then finally, while doing this, I did the life transformation course called Landmark. Now, this is a US sort of a course. Most of you must be knowing it. Even Dr. Jitendra Karwal, your founder, has also done it with both the course. So I've done the course of Landmark Forum, Advanced, then Self-Expression Leadership Program. Then I did Communication, Access to Power, Communication Power to Create. Now, these courses are fantastic. It changed my life. So that's how the thought came in, I'm from a small town boy. God has given me enough to see here. When I was head of UK Ship Register, I was traveling with the British shipping minister, had all the meetings in the House of Commons, which is a great sort of a experience I had, So I was the expert for the shipping division and quite well known in the United Kingdom. So then what happens is, like, from doing this Landmark course, I'm a coach for Self-Expression Leadership Program now at the moment. And then I came from the me, from an ordinary person to an extraordinary person. Like, I came out of the me, my house, my family, my nice car, my big house, to outside, step out of your house, see your community, see your country, see the global picture. So this sort of a thing came into my mind. So my whole thing became that whatever I got from my college, my industry, from this thing, I should give back. I have seen enough. God has given me enough to see in this maritime division. So I started doing and favoring my college in India. And I won't believe, whenever I go to India, that's the Marine Engineering College in Calcutta, which is called Kolkata. That's the only degree marine engineering college at that time. So there, I go and motivate the students. Now I'm a panel with another advisory board in Pune called MIT ADT University in Pune. I'm an advisor to the board there. Now, this was my experience of seeing the seafarers sailing on the ships. My whole idea was to raise the standard of safety, which for the training, right from the grassroots level, what was my whole intention? To prevent accident and save lives at sea. That was my possibilities which I created. So I have to save lives at sea. And that is how I started, right from the training part till I even do trainings with colleges, even with training with shipping companies. And this is how I came, and then I started doing my little bit here and there to give to the nation, to give to all the maritime fraternity. So now with this, it started. And then the other thing, when I was the head of UK Ship Register, I went to a British ship and I don't find a single Brit on board. The captain is, Polish. The second mate is Russian, the chief engineer is Estonian. It's all East European. There's not a single, because the British boys and girls, they are not joining the shipping industry. So then, because I was with the government, I took permission of the government. Then I started doing my community project was going to schools and educate these young students, boys and girls, to join the sea life. And you won't believe, after doing 2-3 schools, I started with my children's school. Then I did about hundreds of schools now in Britain, and I get calls to do this course. My community course is still going, the community service is still on even today, because the students here didn't know that a captain and a chief engineer of a gas carrier or a tanker earns more than a doctor. They earn around 15,000 pounds a month, which is about more than $22,000 a month, which is tax-free, because the HMRC, the Inland Revenue, cannot tax them because they're not earning that in the United Kingdom. So these sort of thought went out, and that is how I started doing these community service to schools, mostly related to marine life. Now I have created, now when I came to know about Sarthak, and so then I met with Dr. Agarwal, who got to me. Now I am part of the UK chapter of the Sarthak team. So this is what I gained from there. Now what I'm doing is whatever I've left all my top jobs, and now I'm only concentrating. I founded a company, and I'm doing only training to prevent accidents for the shipping company. And on the other hand, I do a lot of other things. Like I'm also honorary governor to British schools. So these are all part, because this is part of the education I'm trying to help in the local thing. Because here in UK, even the head teacher schools, they are all has to be interviewed by the governor as an appraisal. It's a different system. And I learned all that, did 18 trainings, and now when I'm coming here, now this has really, really empowered and moved me what Sarthak has done. So there's a tremendous potential in the United Kingdom for this. Now, that is how we are taking. We are very new. We have just formed, and I'm just into it about couple of months now. And we have to do that. And what we should do, there is 1.4 million Indians in Britain, 1.4 million. And they have several groups of Indian associations. But what we know, what my vision now is to go to them. Awareness is, we have to create awareness of Sarthak. And everybody is like-minded people here, they will be able to help. So now our main area is, as a Sarthak team, we should go to different, like in London, the Sikh community is very strong and they're very helpful. You won't believe, during Vaisakhi time in the roads, there's free meal. Anybody passing on the road gets free food on the Vaisakhi time. So there will be people to help. And this is our, this thing when I said and spoke to Dr. Agarwal, this is how we have to, once we get settled and these things, we have to go to different houses of Indian and now we have got 4 states. We have got England. I live in Wales, in Cardiff. And we have Wales, England, we have got Scotland, and we have got Northern Ireland. Everywhere there are Indians. And if we go and follow this up and spread Sarthak, we will get huge community. For example, today I invited Dr. Agarwal into a musical event program, which I host. I'm part of it, from Singapore. 4 people from Singapore opted out to help Dr. Sarthak. Now, Sarthak doesn't have a Singapore group. So here we are trying to build up, because all the Indians, they're all willing to help and willing to do. Out of that group today, which we did in the morning, where our guest was Dr. Agarwal, 4 teachers came, 1 from Malaysia, 2 from Singapore, and they will give their weekends to Sarthak to teach. So this is what awareness is. So once people are aware, they will all come out. But if they're not aware, so this will be my major task in being in the UK panel, to different people, create awareness and get people, and to do something for the differently abled people here. As we know, yes, please.
No. You please finish, Mr. Majumdar.
Okay, just a couple of minutes. Like, and certain things we can always, which we see here, we can put in India, and the thoughts which Sarthak can do in India. Like here, does India has got taxis which for disabled facilities? I don't know. In Calcutta there is not. But here you will find, you call up any taxi. If you call a disabled taxi will come. It will open up, the wheelchair will go in. So these sort of facilities we can start and innovate in India. And like in this country, as in UK, even in US, when you go to station or any department, the first reserved places are for the disabled. You can't park your car near anyone. You have to car. But the things, the lifts and everything, the things are in stations, everything, it's made in such a way that it helps the disabled people. And any trains you go, anything. So that is what this is. We have to transfer this sort of a thought and awareness in India, which is fantastically done by Sarthak, which we see, and what he's doing from the last 13 years is amazing. But still we have to improve, isn't it? Because we know, which is the biggest room in the world. Room for improvement. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mr. Majumdar, for this lovely journey of yours from taking to giving back to the society. and doing so much for the entire community. Thanks. My next participant whom I'm going to ask question is Ms. Dorodi Sharma. Her name itself is is awesome because the name itself says compassion, right? So first I will talk about Dorodi's background. So Dorodi, she supports the International Disability Alliance. She has over 10 years of work experience with civil society organizations. Prior to joining IDA, Dorodi was disability rights specialist at the UN Resident Coordinator's Office in Delhi. She supported the creation of the first disability portfolio for the UN country team. She holds a master degree in public policy from the University of Maryland, College Park. So thanks, Dorodi, for taking time out and joining this panel. Great to have you on our session. So my question is, you are very young, you are very enthusiastic for the social cause, and your entire journey has been in the community service, working for people, working for different causes. How did it come into you to start this? What has been the journey behind this Dorodi, who has been socially inclined since beginning? Dorodi.
Thank you so much, Siddharth, and thank you, Sarthak, for inviting me to this session. If you don't mind, I would want to take this, whatever time I have to perhaps take us back to the topic that we're invited to speak on global policies and programs and scaling them. I would much rather prefer to speak on the cause that I support than my own journey. So that is one point. And again, because we don't have much time, so I just wanted to put some fundamental issues. We're talking of persons with disabilities. We're talking about changing the lives of persons with disabilities, and that that whole concept really has to start from looking at persons with disabilities equal citizens of the world. Right, and that for that to happen, we need some systemic changes and some very, very significant shifts. The first point I wanted to make was about language. When we use disempowering language, that itself kind of reinforces stereotypes. For example, the accepted terminology is person first language, so person with a disability. We do not use which are called euphemistic terms like differently able, specially able, primarily because it creates a othering. When you use language that suggests that some persons are different, some persons are special, some persons are not, quote unquote, in the mainstream, that reinforces that othering. And there's a whole discourse on that. So I would not, go in further into that, but I wanted to place that. Why is language important? Why is empowering language important? Because there has to be a shift from looking at persons with disabilities as recipients, and which Dr. Adams also very, very strongly suggested. The sense of agency, the sense of control will not happen if we're looking at people with disabilities as recipients and not as active contributors to nation building, to society. And that's why that fundamental shift is very important.
Ms. Sharma, we can't hear you. I think there is some.
It's frozen. It's frozen.
So there is some challenge with the video. So let me move quickly to Ms. Singh, Ashruti Singh. Thanks, Ms. Singh, for joining us. Let me introduce Ms. Singh before we ask the question. We'll come back.
Sorry, my connection dropped for a moment there. I'm absolutely sorry. So as I was saying, that the challenges.
Sorry, Ms. Sharma. I was about to ask question to Ms. Singh, but you can continue. Ms. Singh's apologies. I will come back after finishing with Ms. Sharma.
Yeah, since we are, we have only 15 minutes left of the session, so I do want to respect the time that every panelist has given to this particular session on a weekend. So I will, not speak for another I'll not speak for more than a minute, but I just want to talk about the fact that, the challenges you're talking about are not new. They continue to persist because we have not fundamentally shifted the way we look at changing our systems, our society, that to be inclusive of people with disabilities, and not just people with disabilities, for all marginalized groups, really. Education is not about putting learners with disabilities in school. Employment is much more than putting, persons with disabilities in jobs. So that shift needs to happen, and I hope that the work that Sarthak is doing will promote that shift that is required. And again, I do not want to take much more time because there are several speakers I noticed who are yet to speak. So thank you once again for inviting me. Just to the point that Mr. Majumdar made about the accessibility component, I do want to say that India does have a very strong legislation on the rights of persons with disabilities, which was enacted in December 2016. It has several significant clauses and provisions, which, if implemented, will really bring those changes that you have referred to. And perhaps Sarthak can take the lead in supporting the implementation of that act. India has also ratified the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. So there are several, legislative mandates from which actually we have the power to advocate with their governments. Again, once again, thank you so much, and congratulations to Sarthak on their 13th Foundation Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sharma, for bringing excellent points, equality, language, and the change in the constitution which has been brought to empower the people with disability. Thanks so much. My next question, Ms. Ashruti Singh. The name itself is beautiful. Tears, compassion, thoughts for others. Ashruti is a global director of product marketing at SAP. She's a seasoned business professional with 15 years of experience in product management, marketing in high-tech industry. Her experience spans across marketing, product management, demand generation, digital marketing, analyst relation. She's the public spokesperson at all the events and all the external events which SAP holds. So thank you so much, Ashruti and her husband. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, here they were the first ones. They were the pioneers to take Sarthak to UK. They were the initial enablers, as so called, the first movers to help us. So thank you, Ashruti. Gratitude from our side before I even could say anything.
Thank you.
So really a big thank you to you and to Mr. Singh as well. Now the question to you is, it's a combined question. First, your work in the space of community. That's number one. And second is, since you are a seasoned professional, what 2-3 practical advice you would want to give to the millions of NGOs who are struggling in India, especially with the COVID challenges, not able to scale up? Forget going global, they are struggling at the local level. So these two things, if you can cover, Ms. Singh.
Yeah, sure. If you're not able to hear me well, Siddharth, let me know. I hope I'm audible.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much. And I'm absolutely honored, humbled to be here. Every time I come on a Sarthak call, I feel like most people out there are doctors. So I'm absolutely honored to be here with so many learned individuals. And as you said, me and my husband, we were the first two people to start working on Sarthak. And what we are trying to do is expand Sarthak's horizon and drive more awareness in UK and Europe. So first of all, I'll say one point. If anybody in UK and Europe is looking to work for an organization which creates ground level impact for those individuals and their families, they should join and volunteer for Sarthak. That's one thing I want to definitely say. My journey, as even my bio described, has been of a typical corporate person who is aiming to do this and next that, and it has been very materialistic. But two people really influenced me to start working with charities, and I started to work with larger who has created a lot of social impact is Sudha Murthy. And when I met her and the way she inspired me, in my back of mind, I was thinking that she is a brilliant person. She has a brilliant career, would have had a brilliant career in corporate life, but she chose to do this because this is where she thought that it makes a difference.
Missing,
So that
cracking.
was
Uh,
the big reason to people or for disabled people was when I was. Okay. Okay. So maybe I'll just speak for a minute if that is better.
yes, yes, please. And if you want, you can switch off your video so that the bandwidth.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
And the other thing I somewhere read, like the most influential person in disabilities I find is Stephen Hawking. And I read what he said was that disabled people have these vulnerabilities because of the barriers they face because of financial, health, and attitudinal. And it is within our reach to remove these barriers, and it's our moral duty to do that. So that absolutely inspired me. And when I met Dr. Agarwal, it only, I strengthened that thinking in my mind. So that is how I started. To your specific question on scaling, on corporate sectors, how they can help employ more disabled people, I am actually very optimistic that things are changing a lot. And especially, it is time for equality. We talk about equality for women, but it is about equality for everyone now. And in this pandemic, we have changed how people work. So I feel that there is a lot of this where you have an issue with movement and having someone go from one place to another for work. That is definitely going away. So at least in my kind of organizations in technology, we see more and more people who are disabled getting employed. But I also find that the most important part is to actually have them access to good education, that they will be able to take up these opportunities later on in their lives.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Singh. Both the Stephen Hawkins and Sudha Murthy, epitome of community work. Thanks for you being such an inspiration to everyone out there who's listening to you. And we value your inputs. We value your thoughts. Thank you. Our next guest is Mr. S.J. Menon. S.J. Menon is the next gen management consultant working with multiple verticals of fashion, health, beauty, logistics, renewable energy. With experience of 25 years working with brands, global markets, he is a person to go to if you need to know how to expand the business, to solve any operational crisis. He's the man to go to. Thanks, Mr. Menon, for joining us. Mr. Menon, my question again is about something similar, about how can social spaces scale up, and how, so you have always worked with the for-profit, how you got inclined to work for not-profit. So these two questions, Mr. Menon.
Thank you, Siddhartha, and hello. Welcome to everybody. It's been really humbling over the last almost 40 minutes to hear everybody on this panel. And I would regard it as my foremost privilege to be here as part of your, as part of the panel and as part of this particular discussion with this group. To answer it very simply, I have been inclined to lot of spirituality right since my birth. So we've been devotees of who many of you know as Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba. So we have been devotees. We have been committed to service to the organization and to our community right from a childhood. So therefore, spirituality and service has come very naturally to me. Over the past many years. Yes, corporate life did take me apart from the goal. Over the last 25 years, I've been working closely with brands and corporates who led me away from a so-called profit, which I feel the true profit of life and the balance sheet of life is is what we are doing over here as part of Sarthak. So I felt that I should come back to increasing my profitability, my personal profitability in my life, in my balance sheet. And therefore, I went back to my roots and I took up this opportunity that Sarthak offered me, which I see seamlessly is a very good opportunity for me personally. I'm a very selfish person, I should admit that. So I see my growth, my personal growth before anything else. And same is the thing that I tell to my corporates also. See your growth before anybody else. So in this, I saw my personal growth, and that is why I joined hands with Sarthak. And I have been very, very fortunate to have, I'm a very young member, I should admit, to the Sarthak community. I've just joined about 6 months ago. There's a lot more to do. There's a lot that has been done already. So that's about my inclination to spirituality and service. I have always been part of a community that has served and that has contributed to society in its own way. To answer your next question, how I think this could be scalable, this could be scalable only from a point of view of understanding the needs of, when I say needs, understanding the local needs of the place where we want to scale. The world is huge and the cultures are very different. It's very difficult to find a mold which fits all. So therefore, working at the grassroots level with special help groups, with a lot of go-to-market people, go-to-operation people in the ground operations level is very, very important. So for the want of time, of course, I will not look at elaborating more. I understand that there are more also to speak, and Siddhartha is typing away his rapid fire rounds there. So yes, so that's to my 2 cents on this, please. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Mr. Menon. It was brilliant, from how you transformed from the corporate world, going back to the roots of Satya Sai Baba, seeking his blessings, and what better day than today of a Guru Purnima. Thanks so much for bringing him back in our lives and by seeing his self. So so to wrap this entire session, I would quickly request each one of our panelists to say a few words, just words, no sentences, please. Words of motivation, words of inspiration, words you would suggest to NGOs, to social organizations who are wanting to scale up or who have given up hope, or to differently abled who have given up hope. Few words from your plethora of experience. So starting with Dr. Adams, may I request a few words of wisdom from
absolutely. So intersectionality. There are people of every race and ethnicity who are disabled. There are people with every sexual orientation, every economic status. There are people, there are parents with children with disabilities in government, in corporate, in corporations, in NGOs, to join hands with others who are seeking social justice, justice for women, justice for people of different ethnicities, justice for people with disabilities, to join together in the common goal of inclusion.
Thank you so much. Join hands for inclusion, for justice. Thank you, Dr. Adams. Ms. Sharma.
Yeah, everything is possible. Everything is possible. Whatever we can think. The world look at you. The way you look at yourself.
Wow, brilliant. Say it again. Say it again. This is very, very powerful. Say it again. The last line, please.
The world look at you the way you look at yourself.
Wonderful. The world looks at you the way you look at yourself. Wonderful. Thank you, Ms. Sharma. Mr. Majumdar. Mr. Majumdar, you are on mute. Sorry, I'm asking you guys on rapid fire because we want the best out of you guys.
Okay. Now, as you said, I'm sticking to you. No sentences, no nothing. My words only. Success profile. Ability behavior, technical, experience, strengths. These are the words which we need to work with. And if you work setting directions, delivering results, engaging people of all sorts. That's it.
Excellent. So technical behavior excellence. So thank you so much. Next, Miss Dorodi Sharma, if you are there on the line, I can't see you. Sorry about this. Miss Ashruti Singh, words of wisdom for you, ma'am, from you.
Yeah. Yeah, quick few words is that never forget about the impact that you are creating on one and so many lives. No matter how small it is, it will take you in the right direction.
Baby steps of impact, big changes in the world. Thank you for saying it so clearly, specifically. Mr. Menon.
Well, I would only say, urge all of us to think highly and live humbly, because there is a lot of humility around to gather from. So I would say this to everybody: let's think high, let's aim for the stars.
Humble. Thank you.
But always be humble.
Thank you. Wonderful. Coming from a senior seasoned professional like you. Thank you. With this, we wrap our entire session. What a wonderful session all of you have given. Thanks for these very crisp wisdom words. They will stay forever. They will always remain in the environment, in the universe, echoing your voices, echoing your thoughts. I would request our senior, very senior and seasoned board member, Mr. Suresh Gupta. He has retired from Department of Telecommunication. He has been one of the senior most architects of the telecom revolution, where India has been leading from the front. So thank you, Mr. Gupta. If you can summarize this entire thing with a few words, we will be obliged. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Siddhartha. I think it has been an excellent panel, very diverse, not only in terms of experience and expertise, but also geographically from UK, Canada, US, and whatnot. Every panelist has given a lot of wisdom, and the wisdom got summarized by your last rapid fire, which actually needs no further briefing. So the words of wisdom have actually come out in your rapid fire. So there seems to be no further need to repeat those things. The only thing I want to say is that going forward, we need to do the capacity building, because there are a lot of PWDs in the world, more than 1 billion as per the estimates. One person, one agency, one country, one organization can't do it. So the key to success is capacity building through cooperation, coordination, and collaboration. And this has been an excellent panel where everyone has come forward to give back to the society in whatever way they can. The second point that we have to make sure is that now the world is going from physical to digital, and most of the digital platforms are not accessible. So that's a technological challenge to us, that we must make all the digital platforms accessible to persons with disability, so that they can take benefit of the knowledge and the expertise that exists now digitally rather than physically. So this, of course, since our panel is diverse from all the most of the very developed countries, I hope that they will start a movement wherein all the digital platforms will become accessible. And third is that the success stories of people who make a difference, and a big difference in the society despite the perceived disabilities, should be brought into spotlight. I mean, people should know how much each one is capable of doing and is doing. So this type of programs which we are organizing to brainstorm, to interact, to live stream and whatever, that's the need of the hour. So these are two or three points that I wanted to make. Of course, I am personally benefited a lot by the experience, by sharing of the experience and expertise of all the panelists. And I thank all of you for this wonderful session. Before we end, I think, Nishtha, do we have a memento for?
Yes, we have digital mementos for all our panelists.